All right, what is going on, you guys? It is Jake here, back for week 2 of our Madden franchise. Connected franchise, whatever you want to call it. Ravens franchise mode that we're doing here with BaltimoreBeatdown.com. Coming off a win in week 1. As I explained to you guys, I have taken over as head coach after John Harbaugh picked up his ball and went home after his preseason victory streak, so they had me step in and take over. We got a big win in week 1 over the Las Vegas Raiders in Vegas, which, as we know, that's a highly anticipated week 1 game, probably one of the more high-profile ones that I can remember for the Ravens recently, certainly within the last couple of years, and it's going to have a lot of extra juice with people in the stadium in Vegas after COVID and everything. It's going to be a good one, and I think it lived up to that. Ravens got the W. Gus Edwards had a huge game. Lamar had a huge game, particularly on the ground. Probably not as much with passing. I think he had a bad pick that he threw to Corey Littleton before the half, and that put things in relative jeopardy, but they managed to rally. We managed to rally to force a little bit of overtime and go ahead and get the win with a Justin Tucker game winner. So Ravens going to be returning home here for week 2, as everyone knows, versus the Kansas City Chiefs. And that's going to be a tough one in real life, and probably a tough one in the game. So I went ahead and I hopped into the franchise staff talent tree type thing here to take a look at what we're doing with these coordinators, Lamont Booker and Patrick Bailey, kind of trying to get their bona fides up and ready for this game. And what I'm liking so far about Madden 22's franchise mode is that it's it's a little light on the bells and whistles, which I think is fine. Like, it doesn't really do a whole lot, I think, stylistically different than the other franchise modes in the past. But what it does do is it provides a little bit more, or maybe even a bit more, of like a role-playing element. So taking a look at some of the stuff that I did with the coordinators, getting some of their stats up, it definitely has sort of an RPG type feel where your coordinators are essentially like an extension of you, and also sort of they function in the same way that like players would. And so for this game specifically with the Chiefs, what I chose to do with my game planning with the coordinators was to defend the short pass with the offense, because we know the Chiefs, they like to do that short passing thing and kind of have that be an extension of their run game. And I believe I selected blitz counter for the offense to kind of try and stymie some of these guys like Chris Jones and Frank Clark, up front, and then also the guys that they like to blitz with. They've got some players in their secondary, L'Jarius Sneed, Tyrann Mathieu, obviously. So it's going to be a tough game, as we all know, in real life and in Madden. So hopefully I took the correct strategy in here. You also saw me paying some mind to upgrading the players. Rashad Bateman, who, as I explained in week 1, like some of the real-life injuries, there's not really much carryover. Unfortunately, I probably would prefer it that way, but it is what it is. Bateman played in week 1. I think he maybe had a catch or two, something like that. LJ Fort, you're going to see in the action here, despite the injury he has suffered, that's going to have him out for the year. But, yeah, here we go. This is, week 1 proved to be a test where the Raiders, and I think part of this is the game, but also part of the offense that the Raiders run is to kind of just do the short passing thing as well. And Derek Carr, I think, at one point was like 15 for 15, and he took that pretty deep into the game. So they managed to force overtime, and I think that was a pretty tough test. And this is going to be a tough test, too, a much tougher one. And if the Ravens are going to overtime with the Raiders, then you got to think that with the Chiefs, as you see me walking along the sideline there, you got to think that with the Chiefs, this is going to be a pretty tough game. I mean, this is the class of the league, of the AFC at the very least. They lost in the Super Bowl last year, obviously, but it's going to be a tough game. And you see Clyde Edwards-Helaire there, as our boy Steve Levy would say. Looks like he had 80 yards last week in their opening week 1 effort. But, yeah, we're ready to kick off here to the Chiefs. They're going to be receiving the ball first. So JT going to be lining this one up as Pat Ricard fires the crowd up there for special teams. And the kick is away for Monday Night Football in week 2. Or is it Sunday Night Football? Yeah, it's actually Sunday night. So they start on Monday night in week 1, and week 2 it's going to be a Sunday night game. So Alan, Chris, hypothetically going to be on the call here. They're not in the game. I actually muted the game commentary. As you see, Mahomes had a kind of a rough game for his standards. 2 touchdowns, 2 picks last week. I believe they lost to the Browns in this game. So that will be a big win for the Browns. And the Chiefs are going to be looking to rebound against the Ravens, a team that they historically, let's be honest, have had the number of. They've beaten Baltimore. Mahomes has. every time they've met them in the Lamar Jackson era. I believe they're a perfect 3-0 the last couple of years. So really looking to reverse that narrative as a 3rd and 1 now comes up on the first possession of the game. Mahomes going to throw to his left, and he will pick it up with just a little, one of those little quick slants that they like to do. Like I said, the short pass is basically just an extension of the run game. So I set the defense up to defend against that, and we are going to see how that works out. They've already picked up their first down. They've got a little bit going here with Elair now on the ground. So getting the Chiefs into these 2nd and short, 3rd and short situations, they're pretty much money converting them. Whether it's a short pass, whether it's an Elair run, or Mahomes just scrambling for it, like it's pretty unstoppable. They'll even get like Anthony Sherman mixed in as they go to Elair there. That's going to be another 3rd and short for them. As you see, some of the injuries, Mark Andrews, Hollywood Brown, both of those guys are going to be out. Andrews is going to be out for a little while with an upper arm fracture, I believe that injury was. So that's going to be a tough test. And I actually, for the offense, I don't think I showed this on screen, but I moved Josh Oliver into a starting role because for Madden purposes, that makes him the receiving tight end, whereas Nick Boyle is going to come in the 2 tight end packages and do some run blocking stuff. So interested to see what we see out of Josh Oliver tonight. He's probably going to need to have a big one because Mark Andrews last year, frankly, he kind of let the Ravens down. He had a drop touchdown. He had another drop, not really on, I believe it was a 3rd and long that would have really gotten the Ravens going early in the game. That kind of set an unfortunate tone for them. As the Chiefs actually do get stopped on 3rd down by the Ravens defense, and they have a long field goal kick from Ryan Suck up there. So they go up 3-0, but if you ask Ravens fans or even the Ravens if they would stop the Chiefs on 3rd down and send out their kicker to just be down 3-0 after the first drive by Kansas City, I think they would take that. So 3-0, and here comes Lamar and the offense. So yeah, 110 yards through the air, 0 touchdowns, 1 pick. Kind of a rough game for him by passing standards, but he did a great job on the ground. He scored a rushing touchdown to equalize late in the game. So here he comes. Let's see what he can do in this one. And he's not going to get off to a good start with the read option there. The read option's weird in this game. I felt like I was running it to some pretty good effect last week, I think. But there's just like kind of a weird function with it, which I don't know if this is like a glitch or what, but sometimes it just feels like you're running in quicksand coming out of it. And it certainly felt like that on the first snap of the game. But there they go to Gus Edwards. He had a big week last week. And he will fall forward for 4 yards to pick up that 3rd down and short. And, yeah, there you can see the read option thing again. I totally don't know what's going on with that. I might have to look into it a little bit because it kind of removes a pretty important element of Jackson's game. He needs to be able to get out of the gates quick on those. Speaking of which, he dumps it off to J.K. Dobbins for his first completion. That is going to get a 1st down, 14-yard gainer there. Had a blitzer coming. Checks this one off on a little drag route to Rashad Bateman. There he is. It's going to be interesting to see what his status is with this game in real life because he's fighting that injury, but reports say that he's already running routes. Like you can see on his Instagram that looks like he's pretty active. Looks like he's kind of getting back into the swing of things. As there's another read option just kind of stymied. Maybe the Chiefs are kind of keying on that for their strategy, and that's already the end of the quarter. So long first drive for Kansas City, even though it didn't result in a touchdown. And now the Ravens kind of imposing their will on the ground a little bit here, too, as we got a 3rd and 6 coming up. Lamar's going to throw to his left, trying to hit Sammy Watkins, the former Chief, does not. That'll send out Justin Tucker, who is as good as gold as always, and that's going to be a 3-3 ball game. And like I said, 8-minute quarters here. So we're just a little bit into the second quarter, tied up 3-3. I think you probably, again, would have signed up for that if you were a Ravens fan or even the Ravens in general, because the Chiefs have a tendency to get away from them a little bit at times. So they're going to have an opportunity here, but for now it's all knotted up as Mahomes throws to his right to Mecole Hardman, who just puts a hand in the face of Marlon Humphrey, and then Jimmy Smith, a couple other guys, LJ Fort, falls forward into Ravens territory. 24 yards run after the catch there. Now the Chiefs are rolling, or are they? Marcus Peters snags an interception against his former team. You love to see it, and he's going to swagger all over that offense. And we remember Marcus, after he had gotten traded from the Rams in 2019, they The Ravens went back there for Monday Night Football. They had a huge game, and Marcus got an interception on Jared Goff and just went absolutely buck wild. So you got to think if something like that happens, Mahomes making an uncharacteristic mistake and putting one right into his midst, that he's going to be going pretty wild here under the lights in Baltimore on Monday night or Sunday night. As now the Ravens offense is moving a little bit, checking it down to Dobbins. Here's that read option again, just getting absolutely stymied, but I don't want to get away from it. That's kind of what the Ravens' identity is, and they've come under fire in games like this for getting away from their identity when things start to kind of not go their way. So I want to stick to it. As you see, a little quarterback draw there, picks up a 2nd and long. So yeah, just don't get away from that run game. Stick with what you do, but speaking of which, here's Sammy Watkins, the former Chief, another former Chief making a big play, coming across the field on a little crossing route. Jackson did a nice job to get it out of the pocket, then set his feet and just hit him wide open in the stride, not overcomplicating it, not doing anything crazy. Read option again gets stuffed. But you got to keep this defense honest, and if they're going to key on Jackson, that's fine, but he's going to keep running it, and we're going to see where that takes us. But Lamar tosses one up to Watkins, unable to haul it in. So now we got a 3rd and 13, and let's see what they do. Jackson drops back, throws over the middle, and that right there is a really big conversion on 3rd down by Watkins. Jackson, little play action, goes to the right, and Josh Oliver, back corner of the end zone. That is a Mark Andrews type route and type touchdown if I've ever seen one. He spikes it, and this was a really nice job by Oliver to get into the 2nd level there and then put both feet down there. Athletic move to get the Ravens up by a touchdown here, 10-3. So here come the Chiefs. Little play action of their own, and they're going to throw over the middle. I'm not sure who number 48 is. I don't know if that's Anthony Sherman. I thought he was a different number, but they're moving a little bit. They're close to Ravens territory as Elair gets stuffed by Malik Harrison to bring up a 2nd and 13. As we're approaching the 2-minute warning here, we'll see if they take it all the way down and kind of regroup a little bit to try and get a touchdown before the half, and they will. So 2-minute warning coming up. Ravens lead 10-3. You would certainly sign up for that as Jalen Ferguson and the boys get ready to come back out here and see what they can do. So 2nd and 13, big-time blitz from Patrick Queen, who had a rough game against the Chiefs last year. He's going to be looking to rebound pretty much the entire team, but he in particular got victimized. But there he is coming in on the sack and not letting Patrick Mahomes get away from him. That's really a key here with some of these Wink Martindale blitzes. Mahomes just loves victimizing them, getting away from the free rushers and, you know, chucking the ball up or running for a 1st down, doing whatever he has to do. But that was basically the key play by Patrick Queen that stopped the Chiefs on that drive. And now the Ravens are actually in turn going to get a chance to get some points here before they go into the locker room. A nice little 11-yard return there by Devin Duvernay. And here goes Lamar. Checking it to the left off to J.K. Dobbins. Nothing crazy. He's just going to pick up the 1st down and step out of bounds. With a minute 25 left to go, Ravens don't have to use a timeout or anything. So now they go to 5 wide. He's going to throw to Sammy Watkins, going back the other way. They're going to go quickly here. Dump it down off to Watkins again on what looked like a similar route, but that one's not really going anywhere. So they will take their first timeout here as the second half is approaching. 56 seconds to go. Jackson's going to step up and run. He's got a blocker in front of him with Dobbins, and he's going to step out of bounds at the 31-yard line. So well within Tucker's range and maybe even potential to go for a touchdown here, which it looks like they're going to try to do with a pass to Bateman down the right sideline, and Jackson just got no air under that. I don't know what that throw was, but he's picked off by L'Jarius Sneed for, I think, the 2nd year in a row. I think Sneed got him last year, so the Chiefs going to have a chance to do what they wanted to do earlier as Mahomes does one of his stupid little shovel passes over the middle to Edwards-Helaire. I freaking hate those. 1st down and 10. Little over 30 seconds left to go. Little dump off to Tyreek Hill. And I said they were going to try to defend the short pass. It's worked to an extent as Derek Wolfe gets in there for a sack against his old AFC West counterpart there. And that is going to take us to the half. But, yeah, I said I wanted to defend the short pass. I think that's worked out pretty well. The Peters interception came on, I believe, sort of what would qualify as a medium pass for the game. So doing a nice job so far, the defense. I think They've gotten more pressure than you would necessarily expect, but they've also finished on that pressure. That's the thing with Mahomes is you really got to be able to bring him down. It's true with pretty much any quarterback, but if you're going to send pressure, he's going to victimize you. So you got to be able to do that, and they have capitalized to their credit. As we take a look at some of the games around the league, looks like Giants 2-0. They beat the Washington football team in Landover 28-25. WFT is 1-1 to start the year. New England at the Jets 30-22. Patriots 2-0. Cam Newton 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Sony Michel a big game. Obviously a guy who in real life just got traded to the Rams, but for our purposes, we're in our own cinematic universe here, so he's still a Patriot. As we look around the league, and the Steelers got a win of their own over the Raiders, so they're going to be, I think, moving to 2-0 in the division. Didn't see the Brownies record there, but who knows with them? I mean, they're going to be tough. The Bengals might be a little scrappy here, like I mentioned last episode. It's going to be a tough division, so going to be necessary for the Ravens to keep pouring it on against the Chiefs here and hopefully finally get that much-needed win over them and that monkey off their back to some respect. It's only a Week 2 game, so you can't put too much stock in it, but at the same time, I think if the Ravens got a win there, it will be a big confidence boost. So they're going to do everything they can in this second half to make it happen as Duvernay takes it out to 23-yard line. And the Ravens are going to start off the ball first here. So read option is going to go to J.K. Dobbins this time, a little handoff. He's been quiet tonight. Had a huge game against the Raiders last week. I just think schematically he wasn't really in the plans with the run game, but he takes another handoff there, and that is going to bring up 3rd and 1 and go to him for a 3rd time in a row, and he will pick it up. So clock moving, J.K. Dobbins getting involved. Maybe that's a halftime adjustment for this team, is to rely less on the pass and just go to him, and it's working now. Pat Ricard picks up an injury. Hopefully that's nothing too serious, but you got Dobbins really rolling on the ground here now. They're just going to keep feeding him, and he's going to pick up another first down, or almost a first down, 2nd and inches, but he's into the 40 yards rushing territory. Go to him again. Why not? Derek Nottie of the Chiefs gets nicked up there, and it's just an elbow sprain for Pat Ricard, so not gonna risk it too much, but in the meantime, just keep pounding the rock with Dobbins. They've been going to the pistol anyway, so don't really need Ricard for that. As Lamar tries to go to Bateman over the middle there, but he gets his pass knocked away. And having a good night so far. He had the 1 interception, which was kind of rough, but it was just sort of one of those things where you try to put air under the ball, and he couldn't get it, and L'Jarius Sneed was the benefactor of that. But here's Dobbins with the little catch out to the left. He's going to pick up the first down, and he's been huge on this drive. Ravens doing a little pop pass to Devin Duvernay. Try to catch him off balance. They went the other way on the other pass, the prior pass, but it didn't really... That misdirection didn't really do much, so you got a 2nd and 15. They're going to spread it wide. Jackson is going to throw to Oliver, and that goes nowhere. Pass gets contested, and he doesn't haul it in. And now Lamar is going to try to do something, run into the left edge here on a 3rd and long. It doesn't go anywhere, and he gets nailed there by Rashad Fenton. But that's fine. 13-3. You burn plenty of clock in the 3rd quarter, and you're going to kick back to the Chiefs. But listen, with the way the Ravens defense has been playing tonight, I think you just you take your points and you do what you can, and you try to win this slugfest, because unlike the other games that you see with the Chiefs, this one isn't necessarily shaping up to be a track meet. It looks like it is going to be that kind of rock fight type game. So just try to win it any way you can. Mahomes tries to scramble forward, and he fumbles, picked up by Tyus Bowser, who's running to the end zone, and he is going to jump in. And that's a huge mistake by Mahomes to not cover the ball up there. He had a one-on-one with, I think it was Deshaun Elliott, who popped that ball out. Might have been Chuck Clark. I probably should take a look back at that. But, it was Patrick Queen with the forced fumble. Wow, so it wasn't either of those guys. It was Queen who had the sack earlier. He got the forced fumble there, and that's huge for Patrick Queen to come back and really redeem himself against the Chiefs as they go over the middle for the first completion to Travis Kelce, and that's Deshaun Elliott coming in and doing what he loves to do. I think we're going to get a replay on this one, because that was a pretty gnarly hit. I mean, good for Travis Kelce to get involved and pick up the first down, but I mean, that is just a will-imposing hit there by Elliott to come in and be the big hitter that he is. Set the tone for the second half here after that huge mistake by Mahomes to allow the ball to get punched loose, and a defensive touchdown for the Ravens. Will that prove to be the difference? Maybe. We'll see. They're starting to get Kelce involved a little bit, who loves to have big performances against Baltimore. But I mean, that short passing game sort of strategy that I'm employing, it seems to be working. It's working against the run game, too. Edwards-Helaire isn't doing much, as you saw there. Brandon Williams getting involved. Andy Reid, none too pleased with what he's seeing here, as he got a 2nd and 11. And Mahomes really just kind of having an off night. He throws to the left there, trying to get a little completion into the slot, but that one's knocked away. So you got 3rd and 11. 20-3, Ravens. And he is going to throw this one to Tyreek Hill, who, if he had led him a little bit better, that probably would have been a touchdown, but Hill kind of had to come back to it. Still a 25-yard gain, so no harm, no foul. He's going to throw to his left. Jimmy Smith with another pass break up there. And you got a 2nd and 10 now. Mahomes throwing to his left again, and again broken up. I think he's trying to hit DeMarcus Robinson there. It's not really doing much for them, as Mahomes is sacked on 3rd down by L.J. Fort, coming in huge with another sack on Mahomes. And I think that's really ultimately what's proven to be the difference here. In games where Mahomes just does his thing against the Ravens, which is pretty much every time he plays against them, it's a lot of breaking out of sacks and getting away in the QB scrambling game and sort of picking up first downs with his legs and just doing whatever he wants. That's not been the case tonight. He's not getting away from these blitzers. He's not getting away from Queen and Fort and all these guys. So it's been a huge job by the defense. They're really, I would say, the reason why the Ravens are winning this thing, as Jackson throws back across his body to Ben Mason. Not a completion there. That was kind of a weird play, as Mason is in as a blocking fullback in the power pistol formation there. And that doesn't really go anywhere, so we got a 3rd and 11 to open the 4th quarter here. And Jackson throws to his left to Josh Oliver with a huge catch to pick up the 1st down. And clock is ticking now into the 7-minute territory here, as they're out of the power pistol again. Ben Mason to the right, and Jackson is going to let the clock run a little bit here. 20-6, no lead is safe against this team, and they're going to treat it as such. Just sort of a ball control, sort of win with the clock type approach, as J.K. Dobbins showing a little patience there. He'll fall forward, crosses into 50 yards rushing territory, 2nd and 4. Now it's time to go to the closer. Gus Edwards checks in. He's got Mason in front of him, which I think Ricardo's still dealing with that injury, which is why you're seeing Mason checked in at fullback. But, yep, Gus is going to fall forward, and that is going to bring up 3rd and 1. And what are they going to do again? They're going to go to Gus again. That's right, and he's going to fall forward again. As you see Sammy Watkins pick up an injury there, blocking on that one, maybe even a non-contact, which isn't good. He's had a nice night so far. Been a good job. Oh, torn labrum. Shit. All right, well, that's not good. Sammy Watkins probably going to be out for a couple weeks here, as the Ravens have battled injuries with their receiving options. Mark Andrews and Marquise Brown not playing tonight. But to the other players' credit, Josh Oliver stepped up. Watkins stepped up to an extent. And this running game has stepped up. J.K. Dobbins also a threat in the passing game as well, not dropping the ball, picking up first downs. Guys just doing what they have to do. And Justin Tucker having a big night as well. Kicks that one through. And it's going to be 23-6, well into the 4th quarter. You know, you don't want to count your chickens before they hatch against any team, much less this one. But 23-6, and Pat Mahomes just has not had it pretty much wire to wire here. We'll see if he can do something special, but save that happening. I think the Ravens might have their first win against the Chiefs in the Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson. You can't even really call it a rivalry, but just sort of that era, that epoch of those two. As Mahomes does a weird little sort of Madden motion, I like to call it, and just kind of flicks one out to Edwards-Helaire there. Bad miss by the Ravens defense, but whatever. You keep the clock running, keep the ball in front of you. Jimmy Smith having a huge night. Little hit stick there on the fullback. Mahomes dumps it off to Tyreek Hill. And, the Ravens, their defense, they'll take this all night. I mean, just let them check it down, let them kind of throw to Edwards-Helaire, whatever. I mean, it's really not doing much. And I don't blame the Chiefs for taking that approach, because that's their typical approach, but it's not really doing much for him tonight, as the 2-minute warning has come and gone, and now Mahomes going to take the snap, throw to his left. That one's going to go complete. Peters probably tried to jump the route on that one as well. Didn't really work out. Little sleight of hand flick there to Edwards-Helaire. Clock is running. And Mahomes has an incompletion that bounces into the hands of another player, and he's going to throw for the touchdown to Mecole Hardman. But guess what? probably doesn't really matter because it's going to be 23-13, and Ravens are going to cover this onside kick with Tylan Wallace jumping on it, so a nice job by him. And Lamar's going to come back out of the field. Another, I wouldn't say pedestrian night passing, but just kind of didn't really, nothing jumps off the page, but he just kind of did what he had to do. Similar to Mahomes, he sort of took the short game and took what the defense gave him, and it worked out. And like the one time he, tried the deep shot to Rashad Bateman, he had his second interception of the year in as many games, and it's just kind of gust time here for Baltimore. So probably going to bring out Tucker because why not? I guess that's why not. He has a uncharacteristic miss there. Would have put the Ravens up 26-13. And this one is going to be complete left to Kelsey, I believe. So 2nd and 6, he got out of bounds. But, yep, this is more or less garbage time. I mean, you would think that with a JT miss, there'd be something to worry about. But the Chiefs just have no timeouts. They're really not threatening deep at all tonight. And 7 seconds to go. Mahomes going to dump this one off to Hardman. And that's going to be it. Ravens get the W over the Chiefs, the long-awaited one. It only comes in week 2, so you don't want to celebrate too much. But you got to think that if this happens in real life and it happens in the way that it does, where Mahomes is just off, he throws the interception to Peters, he had the nice touchdown from Oliver, Sammy Watkins with a couple nice catches. You got to think that if it happens in this fashion where Mahomes is off, he takes a couple of bad sacks, you have a defensive touchdown, that Ravens fans are just going to go crazy, and I think well that they should, but hopefully not too crazy because, again, it is just sort of that regular season game, but you win the turnover battle, you win the rushing yards battle by a good amount, and you just sort of do what you got to do in the passing game, and you convert points to touchdowns when you have to. That's gonna win you ball games usually, but not usually against the Chiefs, so you can't really count on Pat Mahomes to have an uncharacteristically bad night, but he did here, and I think that proved to be the difference. Taking the sacks, allowing the turnovers, it was, pretty big, as you see Sammy Watkins is, in fact, going to be banged up there, which is not good. We've already got Hollywood Brown dealing with an injury. You've got Mark Andrews dealing with an injury. It's kind of a tough scene as far as this receiving core goes, and maybe that's part of the reason why Jackson is off to a somewhat pedestrian start passing the ball, but guess what? The Ravens are 2-0, and they finally beat the Chiefs, so some of these injuries you're taking a look at here, it's a lot of short-term stuff. You got Jawan James on the IR, obviously, so that kind of is what it is. But it seems like with a 2-0 start after a injury-riddled training camp, that the Ravens are set up nicely. They're going to Detroit next week. They got the Broncos after that, so we're certainly going to see what happens. But this is a huge win in its own right over the Kansas City Chiefs, 23-13, I believe the final score was. So just a really nice job by Lamar Jackson, by this team, and as a head coach, I'm gonna be pretty happy with him. Probably gonna let him take some days off, or at least one day off here, as we prepare for Detroit in Week 3. But there you have it. Ravens off to a 2-0 start in this Madden franchise mode. Hope you guys are enjoying it. I'm gonna be keeping this thing rolling. I've already got the next 2 games recorded, so gonna hop in here into the lab and get the editing done for all of that for you guys to enjoy. But having a lot of fun doing this so far. If you guys are enjoying it, feel free to get at me on Twitter at Jake Louque. That is Louque. We can discuss it a little bit more. Feel free to chime in the comments with what you're liking, what you're not liking, anything more you want to see out of this series of videos. Because like I said, it's going to be something collaborative. I'm not taking it like overly seriously where like I need to have all the editorial control or whatever. It's just something I want to have a little bit of fun with. So I hope you guys are having fun with it so far, 2 games in. And we'll see you next week for Week 3 against the Detroit Lions. Peace out.